All right. Welcome back to another episode of Line for Line podcast. I'm your host with the most, Devon Booker, presenting to you Barely Watched podcast with Lester Wiltfong Jr.
In studio.
Yeah, I was just about to say, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking a little bit different. You don't look at us through our YouTube and see us in a crappy background now. We're back in studio. We got Lester back on the team. Lester, how you feeling today, young man?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. It's cold out there, though, right?
Man,
It's too cold.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. I'm just sad about the circumstances. I'm happy to have you back, young man, but obviously this is going to be our last go-round for quite some time, young man. Lester, what happened, young man? Go ahead.
That was such a fun game, though, right? I mean, it was it's like you feel you're left wanting more, right? Because the way, that touchdown to Cole out of nowhere, you're like, they're going to do it again. They're driving down. They get the ball back. Defense makes a stop. Then the interception happens. And, it's unfortunate. But, like we were talking earlier out there, they beat the Packers' ass.
Yeah.
Right? So at least we got that
Twice, right?
So we got that to tide us over.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun offseason, though. A lot of change coming up, So the best thing is Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, they're still there. So it's going to be a smooth sailing for the future.
Now, Lester, we just needed to field goal at that point. Can you just take us through what went wrong for him to try to throw the home run ball there as opposed to managing the clock, taking what they give you, quick slants, maybe even some runs, some bootlegs? Lester, just help us understand that.
I mean, a lot of guys that do X's are those real deep dives. I mean, it's, even on the broadcast, Chris Collinsworth said, he doesn't know what DJ Moore is doing. Looks like there might have been a little miscommunication with the routes. Ben Johnson took blame for it. So that's what a head coach is supposed to do, right? He says it's any problem there is my fault, right? So that's what you want to hear him do. But it did look like DJ didn't have that. He kind of rounded off the route. And to me, it looked like he just wasn't aware of the ball in the air. The defender saw it first, broke on it first. DJ kind of reacted late, and then the rest is history.
So obviously we don't like to play the blame game, but who would you really put that blame on? Because me personally, I'm going to have to put that on Caleb in that situation because, like I said, you didn't have to go for the home run there. That was a second down. You did not have to go for the home run there. Like I said, set your team up for success, get that field goal, and get out of there. Because a lot of people, they're really bashing DJ Moore right now. And if you look at it, I'm damn well sure he was concussed in that game. Like we saw him take 2 tumbles on his head twice. I'm pretty sure he might have been concussed, and he still played through that. So I have no issue with DJ Moore.
Now, look, I like DJ Moore. I'm a fan of his. But, there are times in games where he kind of loses focus. And, you hear people online, it's, he's lazy or he's just, not a smart football player. And I take issue with that. To me, it's just sometimes there's lack of focus. And to me, I mean, look, he didn't see the ball, right? And should Caleb kind of have kept that one in his pocket and not thrown it deep there? But, maybe, but he liked the look he had. He liked the coverage they had. He liked the play call. If he runs that straight, if he cuts that off, he either catches it or there's interference or something happens. Or he's there to knock away the pass, right? So, look, it's live and learn, right? Caleb's going to learn from that. Ben's going to learn from that. DJ, whether he's in Chicago or not next year, he'll learn from that hopefully. And, like I said, they'll be back next year because they got the quarterback, they got the head coach, and they're all, it's all full steam ahead now for this
It
Bears
just
win.
hurts, man, having to hear that and to have to next year you get that just hurts, man. Like I want to be playing right now, but no, it was a pretty good season though, but do you have a problem with Ben Johnson going for it twice on 4th down, especially after not getting the first one? Like, why not take the points there? Lester, tell us a little bit of your thoughts there.
That's who he is, right? I mean, he's an aggressive play caller. Some of those plays, look, in hindsight, yeah, we could say he should have took the points, right? But in the moment, you're playing against the number 1 offense in the NFL, the Rams, the highest scoring offense in the NFL. You can't trade field goals. You need touchdowns. So in hindsight, yeah, you could have took a shot at the points.
Yeah.
But in the moment, Ben's like, man, we need touchdowns. We have to keep up with the Rams. We got to keep up with Stafford, Nakua, Adams. That's a very good offense. They're going to score touchdowns, kind of like what happened in the Rams or in the 49ers game. Another very good offense. you have to match them touchdown to touchdown. And that's probably where Ben's head was at. But like I said, hindsight, take those points. Maybe he'll change his stock going forward a little bit, but I doubt it, man. This is who he is. He's an aggressive play caller. He wants those. He wants those points.
So you're saying you were comfortable with him going for it on fourth down?
In the moment, I was fine with it. I didn't have no problem with it. Like I said, it's. I mean, that's who he's been all year, and it got the Bears to 11 wins. It got those, 8 comebacks, and it's funny because a lot of people online complaining are the same ones that can't stand Cairo Santos.
Of course.
So it's like, you got to take the points. Well, is Santos good now? All of a sudden, he's good enough where he's automatic, where you expect those.
Yeah.
The one would have been like what, a 36 or 37,
38 yards, something like that.
The one would have been like borderline 50, which I mean, some fans think Santos can't make those. So. Now all of a sudden it's automatic. So it's like you be consistent with your complaints.
Of course. The last question we have for you, not for the entire podcast, but
I was saying it was a short one today.
Where do you think DJ Moore will be next year? Will we see him back in a navy blue and orange, or what's your thoughts? Lester has never been wrong, ladies and gentlemen. So you guys tune in to what he's about to say.
He's under contract. They're not going to cut him. If they can find a trade partner, I think they will. Luther Burden was drafted for a reason, right? Luther Burden he's good. He's electric, right? So he could be your Z. You got Rome at your X. DJ Moore. If you can move him, I think you do it, but they're not going to get nothing for him. So
you don't think so? You don't think he's worth a first rounder?
No, I'm fourth, fifth.
What? Come on, Lester.
The contract is huge. He's not. Look, he's a good. He's like here's your number ones, right? He's over here. Like he could put up pretty good numbers in an offense, but like other teams see these lack of focus things on tape too, right? It's not just the Bears seeing it. So, plus that contract is huge. It's not something you're gonna get. And
highest paid Bears player ever.
He is highest Bears players ever.
Yeah.
So, look, if you can sneak a third out of someone, I think you take it. But I think right now they're gonna try, but I wouldn't expect a huge move just because it's just the way the contract's set up.
So what about all the talk? Let's put him in a trade package for Max Crosby.
Please. I mean, look, it could be. I mean, if they're looking to shop Max and they want to take some salary back in return, you're definitely going to want to put DJ in that package. But it's the Raiders want draft picks, and and I'd be fine with trading this year's first for a guy like Max Crosby. But
yeah,
I mean, if
it's already picked number 25, so
it's 25. It's further down the board than usual. So I mean, if that's what it takes to get a guy like that, and he's definitely a game wrecker. We saw when he played the Bears in week 4.
Yeah.
He dominated that game.
Yeah.
Just him.
He had like 4 batted balls
Him
too,
alone,
right? Yeah.
No sacks.
Yeah.
But just his pressure, his presence. You have to account for him at every single snap. He's relentless. So I mean, he'd be great in Chicago.
29 years old though, Lester. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, you got a few years left. Hopefully, if you make a deal, like look, in Vegas, he plays like pretty much every snap. That's not sustainable going forward, especially at his age. You got to scale that back. Get that percentage down to like 70% of the snaps on defense. If you can do something like that with a guy like Crosby, I think you do that. Or with Trey Hendrickson, who's a free agent coming out of the Bengals. Same thing. He's a little older. You got to scale back those snaps. Whoever you bring in, you got to make sure you have a good rotation.
Of course. Heck of a year, Lester. Heck of a year. Like I said, you guys should go back to a Barely Watch. We've been doing this for 18 plus weeks. I gave the Bears 5 to 6 wins this year going forward. Like I said, first year head coach, first year offense, Caleb learning the system. So they really exceeded my expectations. Just the way it ended, that's what's hurting so much. And I don't understand. I think Caleb's that guy going forward though. He showed a lot of plays because when they released his highlight tape the next day or whatever like that, 55 minutes worth of highlights. How was it so long, Lester? And what did he do well enough to get 55 minutes of highlights from the NFL?
It's the comebacks, right? I mean, the NFL, look, before the season started, he was like one of the poster guys for the NFL, right? He was on their Instagram. He was on their header, right? They want Chicago to be good because look at the Bears-Rams game, the most watched game ever for NBC, right? So they want the Bears to be good. Chicago's a huge market. Caleb's a big personality. He's great off the field. He's the National Football League Player Association. He's in the running for their top award there as the what he does for the community service. So good dude, talented dude. He could definitely be the face of the NFL moving forward.
Of course. Now, when it comes to our season, obviously we know our defense kind of hindered us a lot of times. You know, we faced injuries, we lost people, people came back. Injuries are all part of the game, so I'm not making any excuses, ladies and gentlemen. But when you're in a team on the cusp of greatness after your rebuild, you got to have those uncomfortable conversations, like Jaquan Brisker maybe not coming back. Do you pay a guy like number 31, Kevin Byard? Do you get C.J. Gardner-Johnson back? Tell us a little bit about that, Lester, because we know that we can't keep everyone, and we have to have those uncomfortable conversations while addressing our defense. What do you think that will look like going forward for us?
I think between Byard and between Brisker, I think you prioritize Byard.
Yeah,
I think he's a little better. Obviously he's a Pro Bowler, All Pro, this year too. So I think you prioritize him. Plus, I think he'll be cheaper just because of the age where he is in his career. But I think you want Brisker back too, right? I think you offer him a deal, see what happens there.
His market is going to be huge. Not to cut you off. His market,
he's going to get
16 mil a year.
I mean, I'm not sure he'll get that high. I mean, he's never made a Pro Bowl. His turnover numbers aren't huge, right? I mean, but he's a physical presence. He's versatile. So I think you try and bring him back if you can. I think you offer him a deal, but at the end of the day, I think someone may outbid the Bears, and then it comes down to him, right? Does he want to stay in Chicago? Or does he want to take some more money and go somewhere else? Part of what's so good about Ben Johnson and this Bears culture is people want to play here, right? They want to go to Chicago because they want to be part of something special. They see those locker room, the good, better, best. They see Ben Johnson taking his shirt off. They want to get involved in that atmosphere and that culture because it's a winning culture. It's fun, right? So maybe the guys take a little less as far as CJ goes. Again, I think he's a versatile player. He can play safety. He played a whole year at safety for the Eagles. He plays nickel. He's a good backup to have. I think you bring him back, he's not going to cost much. He was on the Ravens practice squad this year. He's not a guy that's going to cost a ton of money. So he knows the defense. He knows the system. He seemed to like Chicago. I mean, he seemed to fit in really well with the locker room. I think you bring him back too. I mean, Kyler Gordon, as much as he's such a talented player, he did have some injury issues last year. So a guy like C.J. Gardner-Johnson comes back. He gives you some backup versatility at safety, backs up nickel. I think he's a good part of that secondary room.
So who do you say that we have to move on from? Because there's like some part. My biggest thought is I don't know if they're going to pay Javon Dexter. He just didn't give me that flash of, oh, yeah, let's pay this guy and invest in him going forward. Who are some people that you think are on the way out?
Yeah, I think this is Dexter's last year. Unless he has a huge year. I mean, his contract years this year. He just hasn't had that huge step. I think he's good. But again, we talk about having them pay guys. Maybe he's a guy you just, this is your last chance. Kind of like Roy Robertson Harris, kind of similar thing. He had
he was good.
They kept him, and then when his time came up, they just let him find a better job elsewhere. Nashawn Wright, I think he's definitely gone. He's going to get outpriced. Again, but that comes down to, does he want to stay in Chicago? Maybe he'll say, hey, look, make me a fair deal and I'll stay. Who knows? He loves Al Harris, so if Al Harris gets a gig somewhere else, he probably follows.
He's already interviewed for the Eagles and the Packers?
Commanders, Packers, Titans.
All of our people are getting coached. The Chiefs brought Eric Bieniemy back now. I'm like, dude, we're losing everybody.
That's what good organizations do, right? They coach up their coaches. They mentor them. They move on. They find success. And look, that's good for the Bears because now Ben Johnson has guys he's worked with in other organizations. It kind of helps you out, right? It helps make your organization look better. So they're not going to block none of those. They'll let those guys go. Declan Doyle's had an interview with the Eagles. So if he goes, so be it. I mean, that's
next man up mentality. We had that all year.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. So when it comes to the draft, Lester, what is it that Lester is going to do, and what is he looking for when it comes to this draft?
Defense. Yeah, I mean, it's all defense. It's funny, man. Usually I'm all into the draft by now, but, I've looked at one mock this year. I mean, I looked at a couple prospects, just there's not much interest yet. I mean, we'll get a deep dive on the site and on the channel, obviously, but, right now it's a lot of receivers, a lot of defensive backs. Those seem to be the strength of the draft from what I understand, which is good for the Bears because they need trenches. So, like, if you get defensive tackle slips, I see some few mocks had the kid from Ohio State going to the Bears. So you need a big body in there because Andrew Billings is out of contract, right?
Don't you want him back?
I do like him back, but, he's, 31 years old. he's huge, right? So I mean, at some point, it's gonna when it drops off for guys that big, it drops off hard, right? So do you want to pay him? Hopefully, he can come back and do it again.
Yeah.
But there are rumblings he didn't really fit what Dennis Allen wanted out of that position anyway. I mean, he's not really versatile. Dennis Allen kind of likes to move, his D tackles in and out. He likes to kind of play games with them. And Billings is more of a true nose tackle. So I think Billings may kind of get priced out and be somewhere else next year. So you need another guy there, right? You got a few guys under contract, but again, like Dexter, no one you feel really, really good about is going to be a dog. Grady Jarrett's fine. He had a nice year coming on late towards the end, but he's still, 32 years old now, so he is who he is. You need another body in there at defensive tackle, and I think that's where they go in the draft.
Of course. If you had to say what of our top 5 positions that we need to be looking at right now.
Defensive tackle, defensive end. Depending on what happens with Wright, and Tyreek Stevenson, you may want to go corner. It's pretty much all defense.
Yeah.
There's not one safety on the roster that's under contract. They're all free agents. So it's pretty much defense, and more defense. Because the offense is they're all under contract.
Yeah.
Maybe DJ Moore is shopped, but if you shop DJ Moore, you plug Luther Burden in there. Maybe bring Zacchaeus back. On a cheap deal.
He was really good until he had those couple of drops, and then that's when Luther Burden stepped in. He had that good touchdown against the Packers. He had a touchdown against the 49ers. He's very serviceable. He's a guy. He's
a pro's pro. I mean, that's why he got those starts early, because he knows the offense. He understands where he has to be. It's such a timing-based offense, right, where we talk about DJ Moore rounding his route off. In this offense, you have to be where you're supposed to be when you have to be there. And Zacchaeus was pretty good at that. That's why he got those snaps over Burden. Burden was still kind of learning the offense. He had a late start. But, as the year goes on, Burden's talent is just, you can't keep him down.
Of course.
It's worth him making a couple mental mistakes, getting his talent on the field. And, just those moves, man. I mean, when he has the ball in his hands, he's just so electric. So, you maybe bring back Zacchaeus. Jade Walker's a guy that the Bears loved. I mean,
Juby Slide.
Yeah, they kept him on the roster. They didn't want to lose him to the practice squad, and they believe in him. Maybe he's your wide receiver 4 next year.
Of course, man. What's up with all the talks where I'm saying trade Kmet to the Broncos? What's up with that? Do you see them moving on from him?
I know in the years early on in the season, right, they weren't sure where Kmet would fit in. Obviously, drafted Colson Loveland. Different types of tight ends, right? But Ben wasn't sure where Cole Kmet would kind of fit in the offense. But as you kind of saw how things played out, Ben loves running 2 tight end sets. Cole Kmet, again, he's a versatile guy. He can play inline. He can do some stuff out of the backfield. He played on the wing. You've seen him split out. So he likes him. The money's the thing where people say, oh, you got to do something with that. But again, maybe you restructure him, because he's still relatively young. He's a talented player. He can do a lot of things for you, and he's a good locker room guy.
Up until his injury this year, he had never missed a game for the Bears in his whole tenure.
Correct. So I think that's a guy that, if anything, you restructure and then try and add a couple more years. Maybe bring down this year's cap hit to kind of give you some more flexibility. But I can't see Cole Kmet going anywhere.
Of course. Now, Lester, the biggest worry that a lot of people have going forward, because after that 2018 season, the double doink to the Eagles, the Bears missed the playoffs for quite some time. Yeah. Is this another situation like that where we made the playoffs this year, made our noise, and we're back to the decline for a couple of years? Where do you see it turning around, or where do you see it heading?
I mean, it is a very tough division. I mean, that's something that a lot of fans, they don't want to, Packers are good, right? The Lions are good. The Vikings, they won 9 games this year with pretty much no, McCarthy did nothing for them. I mean, he was not a very good quarterback.
9. Address him as such. 9.
Yeah. So that's a good division still. So the Bears may not win 11 next year, but I think moving forward, they're going to be a better team overall. Just the offense is going to be clicking. I mean, Ben Johnson never had less than a top 10 offense. Yeah. Every year in Detroit, his offense got better. I see no reason why it shouldn't get better again this year.
Playoffs? No. What do you think?
I mean, if right now I look at it, I don't know the schedule, obviously, but I mean, look, this team, they overachieved this year. They learned how to win. Everyone says, oh, they got so lucky. Well, they lost 5 one-score games. It wasn't like every one-score game went their way. I mean, they went in there and they took those games that they had to take, and they learned how to win year one, right? And the culture's there, the head coach is there, the scheme is there. Ben Johnson runs a very unique scheme. It's not something that really anyone else really runs. So they got that. They got Caleb. Look, from rookie year to year 2, Caleb's like, I got to fix my sacks. What happened? He fixed it. Year 2 to year 3, I got to get my completion percentage a little higher. He's going to fix it, right? No doubt in my mind. So he'll be better next year. The Bears will be better as an offense. The defense, they're not injured as much. They'll be a little better. But again, it's any given Sunday. It's a tough division. But I think playoffs are coming.
Well, at least Lester just lifted me up since this is our last time. I barely watched for quite some time, ladies and gentlemen. But Lester, you know my camera guy, Kevin, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just say that to say that scene where Ben Johnson took his shirt off in the locker room, that reminds me of my guy Kevin so much because that's exactly how Kevin
When he gets excited, he takes it off and flexes and everything. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. I'm Barely Watched Podcast, getting ready for our hiatus, our hibernation, since we're Bears and the Monsters of the Midway. I'm your host with the most, Devon Booker. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Lester Wiltfong Jr.